Thank you very much, Mr. Harvey. Thank you. Okay, and good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming. I know it's not easy leaving in the evening your little ones at home, but I hope you're going to be learning something and you're going to take this knowledge and use it at home and help you with your little ones. The first slide was Dr. Maria Montessori, and she was born in Italy in 1870. And she, at that time, when she finished high school, she told her parents, I don't want to be a teacher, I don't want to be a nurse, I don't want to get married and have children, I want to be an engineer. And they said, have you lost your mind? This is a path that women do not take. She said, well, I don't want to be anything but an engineer. Anyhow, her uncle spoke to the Pope and they made an exception for her. And she went to the engineering school. However, she changed majors. And she said, no, I don't want to be an engineer, I want to be a physician. I want to study medicine. So, it was at the time unheard of. One of the challenges that Dr. Maria Montessori faced when she was in medical school, because it was something unheard of, the professors, the students did not accept that. She was not allowed to attend the dissecting of dead bodies, male dead bodies, cadavers. And he said, no, you're not allowed to attend that. You have to come alone at night to do that. She was a very determined woman, and she used to go there at night, working, doing her work, and her father hired someone to go with her and just take care of her. In one of her books, she said the smell was so bad that she asked that person behind her to smoke the cigar to cover that smell while she was doing her work. So that tells you one thing, or actually tells you a lot about that woman. She was just a strong woman. You see determination, strength, stubbornness, and she was determined to succeed. And she didn't care about all the obstacles that they put on her way. So she became the first doctor in Italy, and she worked in a clinic in Rome with mentally challenged children. And she started to say, okay, I need to learn more about those children. How can I help those children? So she learned about the work of Itard and Segon, and those were educators, and they had lots of work with mentally challenged children. And she took from them that hands-on approach of learning and the materials that we see in the classroom. She had great success with them, and after she succeeded with them, she said, okay, if it works so well with the children with challenges, mental challenges, imagine if I give these materials to normal children, what's going to happen? And she tried to teach and take normal children, and the government of education at the time said, have you lost your mind? You cannot take school-age children. They are not guinea pigs. We cannot do that. However, there is a bunch of children running around, damaging a newly renovated building in Rome. How about we'll give you space in that building, take them and do whatever you want to do with them. And that was her opportunity, because she did not need to follow the guidelines of the Minister of Education at the time. She said, okay, I don't have to have desks, I don't have to have this boring environment. I'm going to design a new environment that is just right for the size of the child. She said, I don't want this. I want something different from my environment. Just look at the school back then. What is wrong with this picture? If you're just looking at it, what is wrong in this picture? That was education at the time of Dr. Maria Montessori. That's how they educated children. Any idea what's wrong with that picture? Yes. They're very miserable, correct? Yes? Anything? Yes? Yes, thank you. Where are the hands? They were not allowed to touch anything. The hands were bags tied up. I don't know where the hands are, but no one could touch anything. And this is the kind of education said, I don't want this. This is going to change. And when she had that opportunity to have those children and created an environment for them, it was very different from this environment. She created something different. She said, now this is a place where children can use their hands, can explore, can manipulate materials. This is the place where children should learn, not sitting with their hands behind their backs and they cannot do anything. The windows, the children on the floor, children at tables, group lessons, individual work. So this is the kind of environment that she wanted. It's very interesting, I love this part. When she had this big success at her school Casa di Bambini in Rome, a visitor came and visited her school, and she met one of the little children, and she said, okay, so this is the school where you do as you like? So the child responded and said, no ma'am, it's not that we do as we like, but we like what we do. So it's very interesting that a child was able to come up with a response like that, but believe it or not, we have many children that can't come up with a response like that. She said that children need to do for themselves. She said if you change the environment, children will be successful. Children fail to do for themselves when the environment is structured for adults strength. But when the environment is right for their size, they are very successful and they are very independent. And looking at this picture, this is just an activity in the classroom, an apple slicing activity, and we have food preparation activities. And it was very interesting, the beginning of the school year, again, a child wants to slice an apple, great. You can take the apple, you have the apple slicer, and slice the apple and share the apple with the people at the snack table. And children could not slice the apples. And I asked Jennifer, I said, Jennifer, what is it? The children have to be independent. We cannot be slicing the apples for them. So Jennifer said, maybe the apples are hard, man. I said, what can we do about it? I said, let's get different kinds of apple. Let's get the Macintosh apples. I said, okay. Jennifer said, okay, how about the slicer? Let's get a different slicer. I said, okay. So I went to Masters and I asked that lady, I said, I'm looking for a slicer so that the children can use and be successful. And the lady looked at me like, I said, I just want a good quality slicer. So she gave me one, and guess what? We put it on the shelf, and the child came running to me and said, I did it. I said, what did you do? I sliced the apple. I said, well, good for you. That's independence. Because when they come to us and we do it for them, we are robbing them. We don't want to do that. We want them to do it for themselves. So that was great success. And this table where they're eating, so much is happening there. Independence, as I said, and division. If you think about it, there are 8 slices in the apple. And so you have 4 trays for the 2 people sitting at the table, and they're serving the people at the snack table as well. So 2 slices each. So they're eating the apple, enjoying the independence, doing math, and learning so much from one activity. During the time of Dr. Maria Montessori, they said, you know what? Let's worry about children when they are in puberty, middle school, or high school. Children, preschool children, that is not important. Do not worry about that stage. It's not important. Even the teachers back then, the preschool teachers were not important. Professors in universities are higher social standards than high school teachers. High school teachers were at a higher social standards than middle school teachers. And the preschool teachers were at the very bottom of the pile. They did not have much respect for them. And after this day, still in some places, they kind of look, oh well, she's a preschool teacher, with little kids. Well, little kids are just babies, they're not very important. We'll worry about them later on. And Dr. Maria Montessori, when she decided to leave medicine and dedicate her time and her life for the preschool children, her colleagues were very disappointed. It's like, what is wrong with you? You're a professor in medicine, for goodness sake. You're going to the lowest rank with preschool children? So the idea that babies have less value or is still a deeply ingrained prejudice throughout much of the world. And guess what? Today, brain research and other studies are really validating everything that Dr. Maria Montessori said and other educators say. Let's now focus on that 0 to 6, the most important part of a child's life that back then thought it was not that important. During that time, what's happening? The basic personality formation and learning through physical senses. And the hands come back. Very important. During this period of time, they acquire language and they develop mental order. They create their own unique intelligence. Dr. Maria Montessori said about the construction of the mind and the formation of personality is work. And the child is working with his hands to develop his intelligence. Yes. I'm going to go a little bit and talk about the emotional development, but not a lot. I'm going to just say very briefly that children to develop in a healthy, way, they should be in a house or an atmosphere of affection and love. And I'm not going to get into very much of that because we are saving more information on that later on when we do workshops on positive discipline. And we're hoping to do 3, one before the December holiday, one next term, and one the last term. But we're going to get more into the emotional development. The social development. The children need the society of each other. In the classroom, they work together, the younger ones with the older ones. And they have to be responsible members of the environment. So if you look at this picture, it's just brilliant. We have a P1 student and he is helping younger children slice the apple. So I don't mind them helping each other, but I really don't like it when they come and ask for help. It's very important that they be independent. So this is the society, this is the community where they are living together, working together. So if these friends decide to eat the apple and pack it away dirty, what's going to happen to the rest of the members of that community? You think they're going to be happy? Of course not. They want to slice apples. They want to enjoy the same thing. So we give them freedom to slice apples, slice bananas, do any work they want, but with responsibility comes, with freedom comes responsibility. After they slice the apple, what do they do after that? They wash the activity, they rinse the activity, they dry the activity, and they get the work ready for the next child. And I'm going to show you another slide now. This is another example of an older child helping a younger child how to roll up the apron. And that's wonderful. It's not just 2 teachers in the classroom. There are like 10 or 15 teachers in the classroom helping each other. So it's a wonderful community. Another older child helping a young one build the knobless cylinders, and you can see that in the classroom. And this is what I was saying about slicing the apple, washing the activity. Here she did a cracker pounding activity. After she enjoyed the crackers, she washes, she rinses the work, and gets the work ready for the next job. Young children come to us at the age of 3, or maybe slightly younger than that. And they are a tremendous bundle of diffuse energy. They are highly restless beings. And I'm sure all of you can relate to that, teachers and parents. And it's very interesting, you look at them in September, and then 6 weeks later, wow, is that the same child that we had in September? He was not able to sit, he was running, he was all over the place. What happened? What did you guys do? Well, we didn't do miracles. There are activities, meaningful activities in the classroom that help the child develop self-discipline and the will, and helps him become calm. So, for instance, we have a little friend, he wants to pound crackers. Guess what? If you give him toys, our little friend will not be satisfied. But he's feeling that he's independent and he's doing a meaningful activity. He ate something, he wanted to eat crackers, he ate it. And after he ate, he cleaned. So what's happening here? He is going through a different stage now. He is developing self-discipline. So we are not doing any miracles. We are giving children meaningful activities that help them to calm down. And this young man here, he's learning how to dress up himself. So that's the whole point. Meaningful activities that help children be independent, dressing themselves, doing dishes, buttoning, Velcro. Oh, I think that's a buckle, isn't it? Buckle. Sweeping. It's a community. At the end of the day, you need to clean your community. If you made it, drop something on the floor, you need to clean it. You do not just leave it. It's a community. You have to all work together. Spooning so that he can feed himself when it's time for lunch. Carrying. Help them to carry. So that's strength that we develop. It's amazing how much they love to carry heavy stuff. And they walk on the lawn or they walk around the classroom. All these activities, the meaningful activities, what are they doing now? What do you think is happening to the child? Is the child still wild or the child is calm now? The child is calm and develop discipline. And guess what's going to happen next? What thing? He is developing concentration. Now this child can sit and do advanced academic work. I could never bring a child that is running around and very excited to have him sit and do any work. He is not ready yet. He needs to develop skills. He needs to develop that self-discipline before we give him any advanced work. You get to the big work now. There are 45 laid out, and you're going to see that in the classroom. When you go to the classroom, that's big work. You need to concentrate. You need to be able to sit. You need to be keen about learning, and that does not just happen like that. It takes time, and it is a process. Multiplication. So self-discipline does not happen because we, the teachers, intimidated the kids. No, it does not happen like that. And our goal is not to force him to sit still. Our goal is not to force him to be passive. We want them to move. We promote movement in the classroom. We promote meaningful activities in the classroom. Let's go and wash the table. And they love it. They get the jug and they carry the bucket and they scrub the table and they made it spill. They mop the floor. Big work requires a lot of movement, but that's how you develop self-discipline. So when your child at home is a little bit, excited, let's go and wash the car. Okay, come with me and let's wash the car. And it's very important when you show your child something, you have to do it very slowly. And when you show him something too, you have to use very little language because children tend to get distracted. And when you talk too much, they will not be watching what you're doing, but they'll be listening to what you're saying. So when you want to show him or her something, do it slowly and make it in little steps. And you're going to see that in the classroom when the teachers give lessons on the different materials. So they should not act out of fear of being punished by adults or the teacher, but it is something that comes from within. That's the self-discipline that we talk about. The moral development, and that's very interesting, Dr. Maria Montessori said about 3 stages of the moral development. And she said the first stage, he's learning to do an activity. The second stage, he's doing it sometime. The third stage, he does it all the time. So for instance, I get students, adult students, and they do the Montessori training, and they say, well, Maha, the classroom was fantastic yesterday. The children did all the right things. They packed away the work. They were kind and respectful with each other. And today it was crazy. They were running wild, and things were just out of control. I said, it's okay. Children are still in the second stage of development. They do it sometimes. So when your child, one day he's fine and fantastic and doing all the right thing, Great. When he or she doesn't do it, it's okay too. They're still in the second stage of development. And as a child matures, and he starts to move or she starts to move from one stage to the other, and they understand, I need to be obedient because I'm living in a community. I'm a member of a community, and that's part of living with a community. I have to obey, and it comes from within. And guess what? They do not go through this third stage of development until elementary school. So it takes a while before they get it and they do it right. She believed that this will not happen until elementary years, and Robert Coles, a modern expert on moral development, he validated everything that Dr. Maria Montessori said. So children, by the time they may be 10 or 11, they get it. And also for teachers, he knew his numbers yesterday. He knew his shapes yesterday. And today, he forgot. What happened? He is, or she is, in the second stage of development. The concepts are still not clear in their heads, but they will eventually. They do develop that code of conduct and make good ethical choices. Actually, today one of my students came to me and said, well, Mrs. Turner, someone was doing that, but I said, no, I did the right thing at the right time and for the right reason. Actually, it's a song that we sing. So he said this song to me in words. I said, well, thank you very much. I'm glad that you were able to say no, and you kind of figured out that that was not the right thing to do. I am not going to do that. I'm going to choose not to do it. So children do get there. Talking about the nurturing the spirit. How am I doing this time? Okay, let's just feel right. And nurturing the spirit, Dr. Maria Montessori, she said, okay, we want children to know math, we want children to do geometry, algebra, to read and be scientists, but what's the point of having great scientists that don't care about their fellow humans? What's the point of having those people that don't care about their planet Earth? We want well-rounded children, children that care about every living creature on this planet. We got this program from a friend that went to China 4 years ago, and it is a fantastic program. It has songs and books and lessons, and the children really enjoy to practice the different virtues. So my point here, we're not going to wait until children get to elementary age to teach them morals. No, we are going to start now. And we're going to be consistent, because consistency is the key. And just remember that he's getting it, or she's getting it, but it takes time for them to really digest it and really able to apply it. So we have to be very consistent with them. So these are the books. So, as I say, we want children to develop human qualities such as love, respect, responsibility, justice, and service, just as you're being worried about him reading or writing. Actually, this is a picture that we took, Miss Bilby and I, and the Children Peace Heart community. We always clean the playground. And as I said, we don't just, do math and science. We want them to learn about their planet Earth and what they get from their planet Earth and the value of taking care of their planet Earth now. We can't just keep on taking from planet Earth. We have to give something back to planet Earth. So we do clean the playground, and then one day we said, okay, how about we go to Shelley Bay Park? And we went, and it was a fabulous experience. So this is the kind of things that we do to nurture the spirit of the children in our care. And after that, we can have a peace circle, and we can sit and reflect on all the good deeds that we have been doing. What did you do today to help Mother Earth? Oh, I did not waste water. Oh, I did not pick leaves from the tree. Or I did not pick flowers. Thank you very much, because trees are very important. And it is very crucial to explain to them why trees are important. Why do I have to say that? Well, trees give us the gas that we cannot live without. Trees give us oxygen, and they take the gas when we don't want carbon zodiac sign. It's very important to explain why we do things the way we do it. We don't just tell them, don't do that. Why don't I do that? Let me explain to you. So it's very important to give it the rationale behind things. So by paying close attention to human qualities in the formative years, 0 to 6, will prevent the problems our families, our nations are facing, such as violence, corruption, and wars. Just a few pictures from the classroom. The child is working with the pink tower. You're going to see the pink tower. It's a very interesting picture. He was looking at it. This looks very much like the pink tower I see. The other one. Like, something does not look. But again, in a Montessori classroom, we let the children explore. As long as they're not destructive, they're not hurting each other, they're not hurting themselves, they're not damaging the work, we allow them to explore. That's the whole point. That's how they develop their unique intelligence, by manipulating and exploring and discovering, making discoveries on their own. More pictures from a friend working with the rods. You can see the shortest and the longest rod. And this is the number rods. You're going to see that in the classroom. And it's very important that they carry it and they feel that the arms are stretching. So that means that it's getting longer. And they can see and they can feel the difference between the shortest and the longest.